Hey everyone, Anthony Fantano here, internet's busiest music nerd. I hope you're doing well. And Cardi B is Tupac. Cardi B is Tupac. I'm sick of the Tupac comparisons. I am. I really am. Or at least I was before I read this piece from Terrence Punch Henderson of TDE. This piece is up right now on DJ Booth. Shout out to DJ Booth. Apparently Punch launched this somewhat controversial tweet over here talking about how Cardi B is Tupac. Short and sweet, not much else to it. And obviously that caught quite a bit of negative backlash. But he followed through with this think piece over here that actually draws some effective parallels between the two, believe it or not. And I would actually like to echo a few of the things in this piece, and then furthermore add a few of my own points here. Because sure, what's brought up in this piece is certainly true in that both are imperfect, flawed individuals. There are some technical and aesthetic comparisons to be made in that both of them had or have very deep, husky, thrusting voices, deliveries, and have a tendency to elongate certain notes or syllables in their flows. Tupac, for his time, had a very melodic flow, much more melodic than a lot of his contemporaries. You wouldn't necessarily call the guy a singer, but he was essentially blending melody into a lot of his flows in a very subtle and very effective way, which I think made him a degree catchier than a lot of the other rappers that he was competing with. But the thing is, as much as I agree with a lot of what is said about Cardi and Tupac in this piece, a few of the things I'd like to add is that I also see a lot of comparisons, a lot of parallels between the both of them, and I feel like this is where they share a lot of common ground, is just in the saturation both of them are seeing as cultural icons. While, sure, you could take Tupac and say, well, in comparison with his contemporaries, A, B, C, or D, he didn't have the flashiest lyricism. He didn't have the fastest or most technical flows. He didn't have the craziest wordplay. He wasn't on production necessarily that aged the greatest. But still, a lot like Cardi B, but for a different group of people and for a different time, he was a symbol of struggle and aspirations as well. I feel like Cardi and Tupac, in the fact that they are very flawed individuals and everything very negative and everything terrible about them, they either put directly into their music or the news media has plastered throughout numerous headlines, because back in his day, Tupac had numerous brushes with the law. Anything and everything that happened to him that was bad was headlines, 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 was tabloid shit, was rumors all over the industry. Cardi B, very similarly, people hang on her every word, and every single time something goes down with her that's I guess negative in nature, people turn heads, people catch feelings, whether it be that time she pissed off Crips, with that photo of her wearing blue right before All-Star Weekend, or it be that time she came to Offset's defense over that queer lyric, which I'm sure there's still a lot of people who are angry over that. And I, at the time, thought it was really silly too. But I guess in retrospect, I see it as, admirable that she would try to stand up for this person who she loves and has feelings for, the father of her kid. And beyond that, also trying to, in a way, learn a lesson here, or say, oh, he's trying better, he's learned so much, he's a changed person, so on and so forth. Maybe this could be a lesson collectively, not just for celebrities to be doing better and kind of use their platforms more responsibly when it comes to just not punching down, but also maybe it's not necessarily worth trying to drag every single person who says something that you don't like on the internet and flush them down the toilet and just completely erase them out of your life. Maybe people deserve second chances. Maybe people deserve an opportunity to kind of learn and understand how to do better. Tupac was very much a walking enigma, a walking contradiction, and somebody who seemed like he was kind of learning as he was moving along. And like I said, those flaws of him and the flaws of Cardi B are both of what make them so relatable to so many people, because there's just like this incredible unfiltered authenticity about both of them that makes you hang on their every word. Every single time Cardi B opens her mouth, you know she's either going to be saying something that's no bullshit or she's going to be on some fucking bullshit. And, you know, it sort of hit me as a very significant moment, I guess, for her when she did that recent interview talking about her reasoning for getting pregnant right now at this point in her career, saying, well, yeah, I'm at the top of my career and I'm a millionaire now and I have all these hit songs and this hit album and I want to be a mother now. Why do I have to wait? You know, why can't I have both? Why can't I be a mother and go back to doing the music thing and so on and so forth? And honestly, it's a great question because really when you explore those expectations, you explore those cultural norms, nothing is really enforcing them other than just tradition or expectations or just social pressures that really anybody who wants to can go their own way, can do their own thing. You know, to sort of throw these expectations onto Cardi B or really any female artist or any female in general is unfair. And I feel like that's another reason that Cardi B is a lot like Tupac. Obviously, she kind of captures the hearts and minds of a very different audience, a very different demographic. But I feel like both of them, for their fans, represent a symbol of aspiration and struggle. Obviously, Cardi B's struggle was very different than that of Tupac's. But as a young woman who came up with not a lot to her name, who came up with not a lot of resources, who, you know, didn't have much to sort of grind her way to the top other than her dancing, her personality, her figure, so on and so forth. Like she's built this incredible kind of musical empire in such a short amount of time. Now, obviously, nobody does that by themselves. There was a lot of industry, you know, grease on those gears. But still, like, there are tons of artists that the industry promotes every year, just seemingly out of the blue. And few of them see the success that Cardi B has. And again, I feel like it has to do with those flaws, that authenticity, that lack of a filter, that relatability, that ability for the audience to kind of project their problems, their feelings, their issues, their desires, their where they want to be onto the music, onto the artist as they're listening to it, as they're enjoying their stuff. I don't exactly know what the equation to do that successfully is. There are tons of artists every year that try to make music that appeals in the same way or achieves the same outcome, but it doesn't necessarily happen. For whatever reason, and you know, it's probably just a je ne sais quoi sort of thing. It's just you're either naturally able to do that or you're not. There's just something about both Tupac's and Cardi's music that sort of brings you into their world and invites you to celebrate with them when they're succeeding, cry with them when they're failing, and collectively we're all just like trying to do better and be less trash. And also just like smother a few haters along the way as well. I also feel like both of them, if I didn't put this clearly enough already, have magnetic personalities. You know, because if Tupac was nothing if not a personality, you know, one of hip hop's biggest personalities, honestly, for his time. Sure, you know, back in the day, you had larger than life personas that and icons and imagery that people sort of gravitated toward or still have a unique look to this day, you know, whether it be like Slick Rick or for the 2000s like Jay-Z. But I mean, Tupac, he was like a really dynamic figure, and he wasn't just this person who you idolized or thought was cool. Like he had legitimately like deep, profound, emotional, and I guess kind of heart-wrenching things to say as well. And I feel like Cardi does as well. Now, Cardi, maybe not as much, but the thing is she's still a very young artist. She's still very early in her career. Give her time. You know, maybe she'll have more to say down the road. You know, I'm not saying she's probably going to, I'm not saying she's going to divert from the trap banger formula. Most likely not. But even in a lot of those tracks, Cardi is still pretty open and honest about her imperfections, her flaws, the hardships she had to go through to get to where she is today, and what she's still having a problem with right now, even despite all the success that she's currently seeing. So, again, I feel like this piece is not really that off base, and this is one of the more apt kind of comparisons, to Tupac, because again, I think there are a few other artists out there that I think the audience, kind of projects their feelings onto, in mainstream rap right now, in the way that they do on Tupac and Cardi. I feel like in a lot of mainstream rap right now, there's a lot of larger than life, limelight, greatness, and sort of adoration and idol worship. Whereas I don't see the appeal of Cardi B, I don't see the appeal of Tupac as just blind idol worship. I mean, of course, in a sense, people do idolize both of them, but they don't idolize them from a standpoint of, wow, I'm idolizing them because they're just so perfect, and they're just so flawless, or they're just so beautiful, or they're just so amazing, and that's what I want to be. Like, people idolize these figures because they are flawed. People idolize these figures because they're just authentic, and because they're just so freaking real, at least to them. I think I'm going to leave it at that. Punch, thank you for the great piece over here. DJ Booth, wonderful post. Even though you were a little sly over here posting this editor's note. This doesn't reflect our views or anything, but honestly, I think there was a lot to this piece, and I think there's quite a bit to this comparison if you explore it, and could be even more to it as Cardi B continues down her career. And I hope that, really all I hope for as far as Cardi B in the future goes, that she learns to be a more versatile and emotionally dynamic artist. Because if anything is going to continue to bring her success in from out, aside from the trap bangers, because eventually that's going to, be brought out to pasture one day as well. But if there's anything that's going to continue to sell and going to continue to resonate with people, it's Cardi B's personality, her struggles, her emotions. And if she can continue to inject that into her music in an effective way, in such a way where her listeners continue to feel something for that, then I think not only will her career continue to grow, she'll continue to be an interesting artist, she will grow more interesting as an artist, and this Tupac comparison will be even more sensible. So over here next to my head is another video you can check out. Hit that up, or the link to subscribe to the channel. Anthony Fantano, Cardi B, Tupac, forever.